You're watching the Citizen Report, real, in-depth American.
Welcome to the Citizen Report. I'm Jonathan Shannon, and thank you for joining me tonight. As always, this newscast is real, in-depth American. So, some breaking news, a pretty big shocker here, and that is a second plane has crashed in Philadelphia tonight. And that's to say, you had the first one in Washington, D.C., where a Black Hawk helicopter has collided into a CRJ American Eagle Airlines jet on final approach to DCA Airport. And then now in the last couple of hours, in about 2 hours ago, just over 2 hours ago, you have a second plane, this time in Philadelphia. And I just have some initial reports and initial things that I'm coming across, but obviously it's very early stages, but I wanted to get on and talk about it and I wasn't planning to even do a broadcast tonight, and lo and behold, all this starts to happen. So let's go first to if I can, I'm going to punch up as quickly as I can. It's my understanding there might have been a press conference that just potentially wrapped. So this is actually going to be not quite live, but moments ago. Literally, as I was going on the air, there was a brief press conference by local officials there. I'm going to go ahead and take that right now, and then I'm going to show you some of the information that I've been coming across just as soon as that plays out. So it's probably no more than a couple minutes. Let's go to that right now. And this is only moments ago, probably less than 5 minutes ago. This is courtesy of CBS News Philadelphia.
Stay in your home. Again, it's still an active scene and it's under investigation. This is only the first of many briefings, I'm sure, to come on this evening. And of course, when daylight comes, when we have more facts and information to share with you. But I do want to say a special thank you right now, again, to all of our federal and state partners and our amazing first responders right here in the city of Philadelphia. Our fire, our EMS, our police department, they have been here working vigorously to ensure that we get this perimeter and the surrounding area blocked off to ensure that we make public safety and health our #1 priority. So we don't have any further information to share at this time. I've spoken to our Governor Josh Shapiro. He is en route. I've spoken to our U.S. Senator John Fetterman, other federal officials, and everyone, all hands on deck. That's where we are right now. Thank you so very much, and we'll have more information to report in the near future.
Thank you, Mayor.
You've been listening to Mayor Sherrill Parker. Thank you.
So that was the Philadelphia mayor of Philadelphia, and I do apologize. I became aware some point into playing that on tape delay, you might call it, that the audio was turned off on the browser saying, I do apologize for that. I was working rather hastily to get this put together, but basically, to recap what she was saying, basically they don't have any concrete information advising local residents to call 911 if they come across any debris, and to also basically stay away from the area. So pretty typical stuff, really not concrete information. And that was my first time listening through, so you really didn't, on the part that was muted, you didn't really even hear anything of substance, to be quite blunt and honest about that. Understandably on that point, because it is a very, very active situation. And I do have some other things to share with you while I'm on with you. Let me give you a brief overview of what this flight apparently, the information that is coming through. Firstly, this is a Learjet 55 aircraft. This is not a full-scale passenger plane. It is a passenger plane, technically speaking, but it's actually a medical aircraft. And let's go to an image of not the plane, but the type of plane. Let me make that careful disclaimer there. This is what we're looking at. So you can tell it is definitely not like a Cessna. It is definitely bigger than something like a Cessna. And this again is just to illustrate the type of aircraft that was apparently in this situation tonight. Now, the other information that is coming through is a lot of things are coming through, actually. And what we have here is, and this is what caught my attention, in a slight personal bias, I basically grew up in Harrison, Arkansas, which is not too far away from Springfield, Missouri. It's probably about an hour and a half, give or take, from the town I grew up in. And the reason I'm saying any of that is that Springfield, Missouri was apparently the destination city for this flight. And in fact, this is just Wikipedia. Again, sorry, trying to maneuver all these moving pieces as best as I can. Flight origin was, so this is the Northeast Philadelphia Airport. This was not this was not the main international airport in PHL Airport, and instead this is I guess like a smaller airport. Let me just click into this real quick. It is a public airport. It's basically deemed as a general aviation reliever airport. And this destination, again, Springfield, Missouri, it would be Springfield Branson National Airport. And there's conflicting reports as well concerning how many people precisely were on the aircraft. There's conflicting reports, as few as 2 people, as many as 6. It's not been fully confirmed as of yet, but Wikipedia is calling it 6 fatalities, with possibly 2 or more ground-related injuries, with the status unknown as to number of ground-related fatalities. Now, this aircraft is a jet rescue air ambulance. It is apparently some type of medical aircraft, and what is not known as of yet is what exactly they were doing, going to, of all places, Springfield, Missouri. And I have flightaware.com, and this is very interesting. Literally, as I'm talking to you, the page has refreshed, showing another. This is really strange, folks. I'm not going to lie. This is real. This is my real reaction in real time. Okay, so this basically let me just try to give you a concise way to describe this. So the call sign, the identer, there's probably a better word for it, but basically the serial number, sequence to identify the specific aircraft, that's attached, if you will, to this page. But it was showing me basically for the flight from Northeast Philadelphia to Springfield, Missouri. Now we're seeing, for whatever reason, it reloads into a future flight that does not yet exist and will not exist because the plane has now crashed. And bizarrely enough, and I was getting to this point, but this forces me to say this sooner, this plane apparently has considerable ties to Mexico. Why is as of yet unknown. This is what I'm seeing, and I'm just going to go ahead and bring this up right now. This is literally what has now refreshed to expected to depart in 21 minutes from Springfield, Missouri. That is not at all going to happen. Appears to be Tijuana. Correct. Tijuana, just over the border into Baja California in Mexico. So let me bring me back up full screen so you don't have to see all this maneuvering around. Let me try to show the actual flight, which thankfully it still lets me see that upon clicking into it again. So let's go to, this is the actual flight of concern. Result unknown ominously appears there. That's not something you want to see appear on a page having to do with a plane or a flight. So you can see the basically the planned flight path would take it basically due west then southwest, and I'm going to zoom in right now. So what you should note here, it might be a bit hard to see. Hopefully you can see it fine at home, but basically what you're seeing is the actual flight path followed by the, I guess you could call it, projected flight path. So the green line you see there, not to be confused with this green, I believe it's precipitation, but the green line you see here, and it is the actual flight path as recorded. The white line with the thin black outline is the projected flight path, which never occurred. So this is the takeoff, and then basically it abruptly ends short of this road in somewhere in Philadelphia. I have never been to Philadelphia. I am not that familiar with the terrain, even the layout of the city, to be very honest with you. But this is what I'm seeing in real time as I'm talking to you. And let me go now to let me first check this. Sometimes this can be telling. So it apparently climbed to at least 900 feet, and again, all the rest is kind of, what you're seeing me drag across. This is all projected, that never actually materialized. But basically, okay, there we go. So climbing 900 feet, this is the identer from PNE to SGF. SGF is the ident for Springfield Branson National Airport. And it was climbing out of 900 feet. It looks like at a speed of 209, I'm guessing that's miles per hour. So this is just very, very sketchy details. Not many to go on. There's plenty of footage, though, given where this occurred. There was a lot of cameras rolling, and I'm about to go to that. And just let me say this much: viewer discretion is advised. And I probably should have said this in days past, but because I'm looking at information in real time, just be aware that sometimes you might come across something as I'm seeing it that might be a little bit difficult to see. So if you're one of those types of people, just giving you that information, that heads up ahead of time. So let me, without further ado, now go to and I'm gonna go to X right now. This is the first one is going to be, let me just quickly find what is the most pertinent. Let's start with this one then. So this is from an account belonging to someone named John Rich. So at John Rich on X shared this tape. Not sure who took this or how he came to possess this. But this is the footage, and I am going to, in just 1 second, play this for you. Let me see if I can make this full for you. And I have not listened to the audio, so again, I cannot, if there's something in the audio part, just be advised, I have not looked at that just yet. So with that disclaimer, let's now, let's play this, what this surveillance tape shows. Okay, so there's the first footage. It's a very shocking footage. I'm not going to lie. And in fact, as I played it, I turned to my right, and Fox News is playing the exact same footage. So this must be a heavily cited piece of footage in of itself. But basically, to describe it to you, it's so abrupt and so quick that it almost resembles more of a missile, because of just how quickly it descends to the ground. One person claimed that it was descending at a rate, and again, I'm not certain if this is accurate, but 11,000 feet a minute, that quick of descent. So it must have been the G-force must have been intense on those few seconds descending to the ground. So there was probably not much the crew could have done. Let me right now, very quickly, again, folks, this is live. I'm doing this live, so just be advised, this is going to be very much a live feel kind of broadcast. So just trying to move some things around behind the scenes here, so keep this as smooth as I can possibly make it for you. Now, this is, I know Stu Peters had this tape shared, and I'm going to go to this, and I think he says it quite brilliantly, probably says it better than anyone else on this point. Planes are uncontrollably falling from the sky throughout America. This crash just happened in Philadelphia. Yeah. How bizarre. All of a sudden, we're seeing planes just fall out of the sky, so to speak, pardon me, falling out of the sky in Philadelphia, or, across America now. But let's go to, let me take this full and play this out for you. This is more footage of the scene there.
Fox. Can I get...
Yeah, just go the long way, bro. Just go the long way.
All right, brother. All right.
Just stay on the other side of this tape line right here, okay? I appreciate it.
Okay, so I'm going to mute it right now, but basically it looks like someone is clearly walking through, unmistakably, a parking lot, and, police are just getting the cordon tape put up, as this guy is on scene. Clearly you can see even there, it appears to be debris, small bits of it, even there. You can see perhaps a plume of smoke there in not so distant.
I'm working. I'm sorry. With Fox. I need to get I should have worn a jacket. Sorry, brother.
Just go down there.
I will.
So I'm taking it at face value. This was a Fox News reporter. Perhaps I'm
There's pieces of the plane here.
perhaps local Fox
here,
affiliate
Philly
or
Airport.
station.
There are lines of police and fire as far as I can see. Black smoke filling the sky over the shopping plaza.
So, yeah, he's probably, if I had to estimate, no more than about a quarter mile from the scene. Probably closer than that, but we'll say quarter of a mile. This is not live, folks. This
It looks
is
like
taped.
it's on a side street affected. We're right across from a busy shopping center. So,
And I'll just say this as we continue to play
pieces of
this.
the plane are in the Roosevelt Mall parking lot. It looks like, according to police, that's why they're roping that off.
And as we're continuing to play this footage, some breaking news there. It is confirmed multiple injuries reported after plane crash. That's obviously to be
This
expected.
is close. There's black smoke. Sorry, I'm breathing bad. Flames of black smoke.
Okay, I'm going to pause it there because that's about the end of that footage, but you can clearly see off in the distance not just smoke, but actually a bit of fire there. So it just shows the close proximity, and that was clearly a Fox affiliate, Fox station. I'm guessing that's Fox 29 reporter. Someone with Fox 29 and Stu Peters on X had shared this tape to his X account. So let me, and this is breaking news, folks, so I'm just going to quickly come back up full, and I'm just going to bring up more footage. It just gets more and more shocking. You thought the DC plane crash was something. This is just unbelievable to me how much more footage there is in this second one, and just the shock factor of it. I'm trying to, sorry folks, I'm trying to again maneuver all this as I go. So this is a shorter footage, but I mean, just look at this. I mean, it resembles more like a mushroom cloud than anything. I mean, it's crazy. Let's play this. Yeah, so the person must have hit record literally as the plane had just crashed. Nerves are still there to even get it recording that soon. A lot of people would be just purely petrified for the first few seconds, I imagine. So good on that camera person for at least getting that much of the recording. Yeah, just shocking. There's more footage, literally as I'm talking to you. There's more stuff here. Let's go to this. This shows more debris. Again, I'm trying to maneuver this. This is live, folks. Or not this tape, but my coverage of it. So clearly debris, shrapnel, car ablaze, busy street. Wow. Okay, let me pause it right there. I need to stop that. I don't know if anyone's picked up on this yet. That right there in the foreground of this shot reveals what is unmistakably the ident for the plane. And if I go back, and I'll play more of this in a second, hopefully it won't lose its place, but so X-Ray Alpha dash Ulysses Charlie Indy, this is the plane that crashed. And I have a picture to show you, and this is just shocking, folks. Look at this. So that's the picture of the plane that crashed. And then we go back to the tape, and that's why I paused it here. Take note of the engine behind the wing. It almost resembles like a tiny version of the CRJ, but I know it's a Learjet. But you'll note the engine with the ident on the side. And then, sorry, that's not the right one. There we go. And then if you look at the foreground of this tape, that is it right there. One side or the other of it. I mean, that is it. There's no mistaking it. That is part of the plane that's literally on tape right there. So there's no doubt in my mind that this was that plane. So I'm going to keep playing this a little bit further.
They burning in that car, bro.
A fucking plane just...
Okay, sorry folks. Again, I warned you ahead of time that I was playing this. I haven't vetted the audio on this. You're going to hear things because this is a raw situation. So I'm going to bring the audio down a little bit, but...
Avenue, yo. I was right.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep it plain, but I do apologize for that word that made it through. Okay, and this is obviously more of the at the end. This goes back to that first clip that I had played, and let me come back up on screen again. I'm trying to maneuver all this. I'm having to wear multiple hats here: director, person on camera, all of that. There's more footage. I'm just going to go to that now. Okay, so this is appears to be, my best guess would be a drone footage. And let me play this, see what this has to show us. So no audio here, I guess, probably for the better, given how chaotic and the like. So yeah, it looks like it may have crashed on a busy street or one of the buildings adjacent. It kind of looks like to me it crashed into the street, possibly, given the kind of where the center focal point of this situation is. It looks like a Dunkin' Donuts potentially there. I'm not exactly sure, but it appears to be a Dunkin' logo on that building. And then you have, looks like row apartments possibly, townhomes maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not from Philadelphia. I've never been to that city. But I'm just giving you a play-by-play as I'm seeing it, as you're seeing it. So, you know, obviously emergency responders are there on scene. Obviously an unthinkable situation of how to go about responding to all this. It is unbelievable how we've had 2 plane crashes of significance. And of course, I understand that in America you have plane crashes, sadly, more, you know, that occur quite a bit. But usually they're Cessnas, smaller aircraft. They barely make a blip on the local news channels and stuff. But then you have 2. One, you have a passenger jetliner with a helicopter, Black Hawk helicopter, crashing into it. And then the second one, you have what appears apparently a medical aircraft. We don't yet know. Okay, so from Fox News, reading directly what they're saying, medical transport company confirms plane crash in Philadelphia with patient on board. So that is a little bit interesting. So 4 crew, 4 pediatric patient and 1 escort. So that does confirm the 6, the very early report of 6 passengers or 6 people aboard, 4 passengers, 4 crew, I'm guessing 2 passengers, to be more accurate with the wording there. Yeah, pediatric, that's just almost gut-wrenching to even see that word on screen. But okay, let me keep going here. Let's see here. Again, I'm live. It is 9:05 p.m. Eastern Time as I'm live with you tonight. This occurred around approximately 6:30 p.m. tonight. I became aware of it about an hour ago, and I began almost immediately to prepare for this, but it's still... I'm just had to kind of put this together rather quickly so I could get up on air. So this is... I'm trying to see. Okay, there's another piece of footage here. It shows another angle of it. I know there's other footage, and I'd like to share that if I can. And... let me go to that. Let me take it full right now. And I understand one of the other YouTube channels is going live right now, so other people are starting to pick up on this. But again, folks, this is still just a breaking news story. Reports coming thick and fast right now. So here's another footage. Here's more footage of that plane, or the plume, the mushroom cloud like event that took place. Now this is interesting. Why would someone shout Allahu Akbar?
What the hell? Oh my God.
Allahu Akbar, that's a really bizarre thing to be saying. I find that to be interesting. I need to hear that again. Let me make sure that this is not... I'm going to listen carefully here. This is my first time hearing this.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. What the hell? What the hell?
I guess it's his real... authentic reaction to it. I'm guessing a Muslim. Okay, so I was a little alarmed when I first heard that, but I guess it's just his authentic reaction from his point of view, being I'm presuming someone of a Muslim background. So if you're just tuning in, this is the Citizen Report with live breaking news right now. We started a few, maybe about 30 minutes ago. We began our coverage here, and what has happened is this plane has crashed into a neighborhood somewhere in Philadelphia, and there are conflicting reports, but what can be confirmed, what can be ascertained, is what it appears to be 6 people on board were killed. I can't imagine any chance of surviving this. So presumptuously presuming that 6 people lost their lives on board this plane. It had just taken off from Northeast Philadelphia Airport, and it was inbound. It was going towards Springfield, Missouri, and apparently a pediatric patient was on board the aircraft. So, yeah, so this is a very early breaking story that is currently in progress right now, and it's still, there's still a lot of information that's trickling in while I'm talking to you, and I'm going to keep on for a little bit longer to see if I have any further information to relay on to my audience here. Obviously, I've mentioned this before. This is my personal YouTube channel. I'm currently utilizing it for the Citizen Report live broadcast, not pre-tape, but live broadcast, because frankly, that is the means of which I can do live broadcasts, is through YouTube. So it's a little awkward, that kind of arrangement right now, but it is what it is. So that's why you're seeing, if you're watching, this is important being live here tonight on YouTube. So again, I'm staying with you folks. There's reports of injuries in Philadelphia. Philadelphia Fire Department is reporting fires are under control after plane crash. So they must have been able to contain it, and that's coming from Fox News just now. So I don't like to rely on mainstream media for anything, but sometimes you have to. Okay, so this is just now. This apparently was up 1 hour ago by Benny Johnson, put up on X. I'm going to play this for you. I have not validated this, and I have not reviewed this. And I've told you before near the beginning of the broadcast, being that this is live breaking news, you can't always vet. You can't always just, check to make sure there's no, for example, expletives in something. So just be aware, just understand this is raw breaking news, and I'm gonna deliver it to you as it's coming across what I'm seeing here. So this is on X, Benny Johnson, and I'm gonna play this. Apparently this is air traffic control, and let's see what was said here.
Med service 056 mid.
Okay, let me restart that. My apologies.
Medevac, med service 056 on departure, turn right heading 290, runway 24, clear for takeoff, wind 25010. Medevac, med service 056 affirmative, on departure, turn right heading 290, runway 24, clear for takeoff. Medevac, med service 056, contact Philly departure 123.8.
123.8, Mike Tango Sierra 056 Medevac. Thank you, good day.
Medevac med service 056, Northeast Tower, contact Philly 123.8. Medevac med service Northeast Tower. Medevac med service 056, Northeast Tower, you on frequency?
Medevac Mike Tango Sierra 056, Northeast Tower, how do you hear this transmission?
Medevac med service 056, Northeast Tower.
Philly pick up
56098 Foxtrot, Northeast Ground, Roger. Stand by one. I'll get back to you when I can.
Stand by.
First to runway 24, what's going on down there?
Position 765. We have a lost aircraft. We're not exactly sure what happened, so we're trying to figure it out. For now, the field is going to be closed, so no inbounds or outbounds probably.
All right, understand. Thank you.
For 60908 Foxtrot, I'm sure you copied that, but for right now, we're gonna call the field closed. We'll try to get you out here when we can. If we can't, we'll have to take you over to Atlantic. But stand by for now.
Okay, so that is somewhat telling in of itself. So basically, to just try to summarize all that commotion you were just hearing. So air traffic control was initially talking to that plane, as the way I understand it, and it was cleared for takeoff. It took off apparently. It obviously did for it to crash, and then basically shortly thereafter they lost contact. They lost radar contact with the plane. They made several attempts to verbally reestablish, get them to do, basically an acknowledgement, and there was no reply. And it appears to be towards the end they were making a decision to close the airfield. That's to say, Northeast Philadelphia Airport Field, in the wake of what was transpiring there. So this is just, I'm just going to stay on with you a bit longer. And if there's nothing else, I will probably sign off before too much longer. But I want to give a sufficient opportunity for further initial developments to take place, and even other news channels they're still relaying that one of those clips, and I might just play it for you again. I think this is probably the most dramatic piece of footage that I personally have seen, and especially for those that might just be now tuning in, there is a plane crash, a medical jetliner. A medical jet took off from Northeast Philadelphia and crashed shortly after takeoff. It was en route to Springfield, Missouri. Unconfirmed, but apparently it may be of Mexican origin. It has numerous flight logs, or several, I'll call it several flight logs to be more correct in my language there. Several documented cases where they were in Mexico. Laura Loomer on X, and I'm just going to paraphrase what she said. Basically, she said the aircraft ident starting with the letter X denotes it would be a Mexican jet. So I can't confirm that. That's what Laura Loomer said on X. So this is what I'm seeing, and I'll show it to you. It might be a little difficult to read, but I'll read it off to you. Not every one, obviously, but you have like what appears to be a flight within Mexico. Yep, literally in the middle of the country of Mexico. And then you have other cases, it's gone up into, for example, Tucson. Another takes it to John Wayne. That's in, I believe, Burbank, California, if my memory serves me correct. Phoenix, another, international flight there, but back to Mexico. Looks like another Mexico. It's been quite all over the place. It's been to Mexico, Albuquerque, Fort Lauderdale. It looks like even Haiti. That's an interesting one. But Haiti there. Opelika, that's Miami area. And earlier today it flew from Opelika to Northeast Philadelphia, and it had just taken off at 6:06 p.m. Eastern from Northeast Philadelphia. So that's a slight correction on my part. It was more probably closer to, I imagine, no later than about, well, it may have been closer to 6 o'clock when this happened instead of 6:30, but flight began at 6:06 p.m. It crashed shortly after takeoff. I'm not sure if that time would be when it pushed back from, whether if it was a gate or whatever hangar it was coming from, or does that time start when they actually achieve lift and get off the ground. That part I'm not as certain about. But anyways, this is, as I said, this is live breaking news. More information will emerge in due course. And to think that, like I said, we've had now 2 plane crashes in the span of 1 week, and the mainstream media, I just love how it blows my mind, all the big and small ways that they I don't want to use words incorrectly, but I almost want to say malign news events. One local station there, it's referring to it as a small plane crash. It's not a small plane crash. It's not a Boeing 737 or 747, nothing like that. But it is it's a decent sized plane, at least enough to carry several people and achieve a speed that it did. This is not a Cessna. This is nothing like that at all. And there's questions I would have about what this flight was doing. Apparently it contained a pediatric patient. That's a minor, in other words. And a total of 6 people on board that plane. So let me check again before I perhaps potentially sign off, if there's any further information that has come down. And so here's another footage I have not validated the audio or video. I've just played a little bit of the video for myself before I'm popping it up literally in real time on screen. And it looks like a dash cam inside someone's car recording this. So timestamp here appears to be 6:22 p.m. I believe this is another piece of footage that's likely been on TV, and I'm backing this up, and I want you to take notice of something. Look about right in the middle of the screen. You can literally see a plane falling almost straight down, but I'm guessing at an angle. And that's also interesting. There's like a slight arc, so it looks like it had already begun when this tape begins. It looks like it was already descending, which it should not be doing at that altitude, but close after takeoff. But it's arcing a little bit more steep bank. It's becoming steeper, and then by the end, it looks like to my eye, it's almost straight down, but not quite straight down. And then big explosion, fire and all. You can see debris going in several directions. And it almost, it's clearly a plane, but it just almost, it's so sudden, so violent, it almost resembles more like a missile than anything. So, yeah, and I'm just playing it through in real time with you here. So, there's other information that's been coming to light about the situation with respect to the Washington plane crash, but the fact that I'm covering this has a lot to do with the proximity and time to the Washington D.C. one the same week, and one could only wonder what in the world would cause not one but two plane crashes to take place within 1 week in the mid-Atlantic Northeast United States. One in the nation's capital, the other in Philadelphia. So there's a lot of raw information about both incidents that are on the website. There's a lot of, you have to also be careful because you can also see that basically there's a lot of misinformation. There was one case, I'll say this much. There was an incident, or not incident. There was this situation where people were pointing to, there were people that were suggesting that there was a certain individual that was on board the helicopter, and I will be frank to say I did record a report documenting certain facts about this individual that I came across online, but I made the decision to myself I would only release that said report if it became more likely that person was on board the helicopter in the Washington incident. Apparently, that has been debunked. I'm still very concerned with respect to the other theory about remote control. I have not seen anything to disprove that. Of course, it's hard to prove that, but unlike the person of interest, we'll call it that. That was briefly, you could call it that for lack of a better word. The remote control theory has not been disproven. So it will be interesting to see how all this develops and why all this is going on when it's going on right now. Trump has just been sworn back in as the 47th President of the United States. And I'll mention this too. Now, some of this is being cut off by the logo, so what I might do is kill that for a second. There we go. So this is what someone captured from Flight Radar 24/7, aircraft type Learjet 55, type code LJ55, serial number 55-032, and It looks like it's a decent age, actually, 43 years old, from 1982. Interestingly enough, same month, same year, if I remember correctly, as that Air Florida plane crashed in Washington, D.C. Air Florida, I might recall, Air Florida Flight 90 crashed in Washington, D.C. Into the Potomac River due to improper de-icing. And it looks like this plane dates back to that same month and year. What about that? That's interesting. Airline and operator is deemed to be Jet Rescue Air Ambulance. Country of registration, so we can confirm this, it to be Mexico. So that's interesting. Why is it a Mexican plane and not an American plane carrying a medical patient? I just find that to be most bizarre to me. I don't know what to make of that, folks. I don't know what to make of that at all, but I just find that to be really peculiar, because I'm just certain that we have our own medical jets of similar, if not better, planes, and yet for some reason we're using a foreign aircraft, a foreign registered aircraft. So yeah, this is just, again, a breaking news story, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. And you can only imagine the pandemonium on the streets of Northeast Philadelphia. And it will be investigated by the FAA with the lead of the NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board. So that will be interesting to pay attention to as well. And I don't say this to project any kind of spirit of fear, for as Christians we have not been given a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and of sound mind. And I always want to say that emphatically, because I don't want to be on here projecting fear. That is never my intention whatsoever. I like to have my audience informed, but I am not going to be one to project fear. Now, good to see this come through while I'm still live on air. In the last few minutes, President Trump on Truth Social had put this up, and I'll read it to you. I'll read it to you here right now. It says, "So sad to see the plane go down in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. More innocent lives lost. Our people are totally engaged. First responders are already being given credit for doing a great job. More to follow. God bless you all." I don't want to make this out to be more than what it is. And I mean that more in general than anything, but I want to just say that Trump is a wartime president. There is such a thing called the deep state. And I can only ask questions, but I would really like to know, why was a Mexican plane used for an American patient? Or was it an American patient? Why are we having planes falling out of the sky? I mean, that's a common sense question. Why all of a sudden are we having this happen? And I just love how the leftists on social media, they're saying, oh, well, Trump got rid of an FAA, director. Well, as I understand it, the FAA director left at the end of Biden's, I'll call it not a term, but we'll call it a regime period, a period of time for a regime. This is YouTube, so I'll choose my words carefully. But I just really don't understand why we're having this happen right now. It's really just so bizarre to me. And news channels are still on there talking about it, as I'm sure they will be for some time. And it looks like the FAA has this. I did have this to show you all as well, but I don't think I showed this yet. This is a statement. Again, this is being obscured by the logo. Let me see if I can just go to this setting. There we go. From the FAA, quote, "A Learjet 55 crashed around 6:30 p.m. local time on Friday, January 31. After departing from Northeast Philadelphia Airport, 2 people were on board. The plane was en route to Springfield-Branson National Airport in Missouri. The FAA and NTSB will investigate the NTSB will lead the investigation and will provide all updates. So that is what the FAA said. Let me check the timestamp. I believe that says 7:47 p.m. tonight. We now know that there were 6 people, not 2 people, but I believe 6 people on board. So that is a little bit dated there, but nevertheless, that is a statement from the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration. So, and you can see other people like Secretary of, I believe this is Department of Transportation, Sean Duffy, said this. Just briefed the President and Governor Shapiro from FAA headquarters. I offered the full support of the U.S. DOT to the governor and local officials. Investigators are on site. And, yeah, so that is worth a mention, I guess. But, anyways, folks, okay. There's one more piece of footage, and this is going to be graphic. I will warn you. It appears to be... I need to decide if I want to share this or not. It's a short clip, but you can see somebody in this footage. Someone walking around. I'm guessing they were someone on the ground that was close enough to get some of their clothes set ablaze, walking around. And this is... Sorry about that again. This is the footage of this, 7 seconds long. Someone added a caption, after today I believe in miracles. If he's referring to that person walking around, I would say yes. Yeah, imagine being that close and surviving. Okay, so it's hard to see perhaps, but you can see someone clearly walking around trying to probably just get oriented with what in the world just happened. Obviously, I'm just sure in a state of shock. Cannot imagine what that person's going through. So, it was taken from probably, 50, 75 feet back from that person across the lot, basically. But yeah, this is what happened tonight. And I'm sure there will be more developments as we go forth. But I wasn't, as I said, folks, I wasn't even planning to come on tonight. I was not planning to come on tonight, and yet here I am talking about not just an update to Washington, but an update or initial report on a second plane crash. It's almost like, do I just want to rename this podcast temporarily the Plane Crash Report? I mean, it's absolutely absurd that this is going on in America. This is like a third world country to have things like this happen, and I just want to know what, if the deep state is into something and, they are trying to cause as much chaos as possible. And if there's any nefarious intent behind any of this, may God bring justice. May the facts come forth, and so that Americans can know what really happened in both of these cases. Perhaps both of these are just pure tragedies, but there's a lot more questions than answers for obviously both. But as the days go on, the Washington one especially is just getting more bizarre and less able to explain away what happened with those two colliding. I mean, yes, it's congested airspace. In fact, someone said it's the busiest runway in America. Not sure if that's true, but that's what one person claimed. If that's true, I mean, yes, that is, I'm sure, a factor. But still, how do you explain, one helicopter of military background being in close proximity, apparently, allegedly above the maximum height, and why, it blows my mind. It blows my mind. And I was planning to do this as a packaged, like a pre-taped show to say, I'm sure, other things, but there is, as I understand, a bit of an update. So it apparently has come to light the CRJ aircraft in Washington the other day was flying on approach using instrumentation approach, IFR, not visual, VFR. Inexplicably, irrefutably, because of the evidence on ATC, air traffic control radio, the helicopter apparently was on visual, was, basically flying visual. And yeah, so it's very early to say much else of anything going back to the Philadelphia situation. So if you're just tuning in, I've been on now for almost an hour, and I'm going to probably wrap it up here in a short bit. But there was a plane crash, a medical aircraft carrying apparently 6 people, 4 crew members, 1 pediatric patient, and what is being described as an escort on board the now crashed jet plane. The patient apparently was a minor, because it's described as pediatric, so that means a child basically. And that plane is of Mexican origin, but it was flying from Philadelphia, northeast Philadelphia, to Springfield, Missouri. The plane has had a history of flying into other countries, to and from countries. Some come to mind was Haiti, Mexico, and of course the United States. So that is very interesting. And I just want to ask the question, as early as it is, why are we flying using a Mexican jet? Does America really not have medical planes of our own? Do we not have medical planes of our own? And that's just a question. I know it's very early. I know the situation is still unfolding. And I don't want to sound insensitive, but I really would like to know, why is it Mexican? Why are we not using our own jet liners? Like, does that somehow play a factor? Not necessarily in the plane crash, but, why? I would, basically just want to know all the facts that included. Why was it a foreign registered plane if it's for medical purposes here in the United States? Apparently a domestic, basically from Pennsylvania to Missouri kind of issue. So more questions and answers now for a second incident tonight. So with that said, folks, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thanks for bearing with me tonight. I apologize for some of the technical difficulties, especially towards the beginning of the broadcast this evening. But thanks for hanging with me, folks. And I'm sure I'll be back on. I basically came back to start resuming regular editions of the Citizen Report. And wow, boy, have things escalated. And may God bless and protect this country. And in Jesus' name. And God bless each and every one of you. And I will see you back here again next time for another edition of the Citizen Report. Don't forget to subscribe on Rumble. Keyword search The Citizen Report. You can, of course, come to thecitizenreport.net, as you see on screen, and you can get the links, especially the Rumble one. That's the most important one. For the time being, as said at the beginning of the broadcast, live shows are going to be running here on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, for the time being, until perhaps other arrangements can be made, at least. But that's it for me, folks, and thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you again next time for the Citizen Report. Have a good evening.